Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is NBS Fitness Radio.
All right, welcome back to NBS Fitness Radio. We are here in the new studios. This is our first podcast in the new space. I'm here with Sherry Stewart. Sherry just hit her official 1,000th class. It's probably closer to like 2,000 or 3,000, but the way when we switch softwares, we kind of started back at zero, right? So welcome on the podcast, Sherry.
Thank you.
And to kind of start off, I like to kind of hear about how your fitness story began. When was kind of the first time you started, training and with the purpose?
Okay. So I was one of those people growing up and in school. I was not athletic. Didn't really like that kind of thing. Okay. About when I was 24, I found out my cholesterol was really, really high.
Okay.
It's heredity, so all I can do is manage it.
Yeah.
So I started doing a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more exercise. And for several years, I used a Nordic track. If you remember what those are, the skiing machines.
Okay.
Used that religiously, but kind of got tired of that and moved into running.
Okay.
The girls were still young when I started running, so I was pretty much doing it by myself because Ken and I were handing off, you're on duty now, I'm leaving, there we go run. Did that for several years, kind of got bored with that. And so about the time our girls were on their own, Ken and I started CrossFit together, which was about 12 years ago.
Okay, wow. And so what was the time frame between like started running and then CrossFit?
I was still running a little bit when we started CrossFit, but it definitely phased out once we started coming to CrossFit more frequently.
Like how long did you run those?
I'm sorry. Probably about 4 years.
Okay, very cool. Did a doctor tell you to start running, or you're just like, that's what I'm gonna do?
No, that was just something that was easy to do. I didn't need a lot of equipment. Yeah, okay. It was something I could leave the house when I had the opportunity and just go do it, and didn't really have to think about working it into my schedule too much.
Very cool.
So it was just easy and available.
So then you found out about CrossFit. How'd that come about?
We actually had met some new friends, and we're hanging out with them one night, and she was telling me about this new thing called CrossFit that she and her husband had just started doing. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that. Yeah. So we started going with her and her husband and just kind of drank the Kool-Aid, as they say, and became addicted.
Now, was Ken doing any type of training before then?
He really wasn't doing a whole lot. Okay. He had in the past. He had gone through a running phase as well and karate, but he really wasn't at the time that we started doing CrossFit.
Okay, so both of y'all were just like, that sounds cool, and y'all started together and tried
it.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. What was the first experience like?
So it's kind of funny that you asked that. Our first experience was the gym that we went to happened to be where Angie was working.
Right, yeah.
And she did our assessment. Like, that was the first thing you did. You go so they can kind of get an idea of where you are. And we liked Angie immediately. But dang, we were sore. Because we walked in there thinking, oh, we're in shape. We're going to blow this away. And no.
Yeah, I literally had that conversation with someone earlier talking about, like, the first 90 days. I was like, for most people, first 90 days is recognizing that you're way more out of shape than you thought you were.
Yes.
What was the assessment?
Oh, goodness. I don't remember a lot of it. It was just, it was body weight things, so like push-ups, sit-ups. She may have had us doing some wall balls and some jump rope.
Yeah.
But just kind of for her to get an idea of where we were.
Okay, so your initial kind of response, was it, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm like this, or like, oh gosh, okay, that was hard, but I like it?
We both kind of were all in from the get-go. We enjoyed it, but the gym where we had started, Angie left like right after that, and that's when she went and opened her gym. So we were kind of sad about that, but we kept on. And
so what do you think about that style of training, high intensity functional fitness done in a group setting, like what about it attracted you?
The fact that doing that on my own, I wouldn't push myself.
Yeah.
But you get in there and you have a group of people that generally are the same in every class, and you kind of have that one or two people that you compete against.
Yeah.
And that really makes you push yourself and do more than you think you can do.
Have you heard of the phrase, how do you say it? Gym enemy or Jiminy?
Jiminy,
Yeah,
yes.
Yes, or Jiminy.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you were running, you're doing it solo.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
That's like totally different.
Exactly.
Did you, I mean, what did you think about going from working out by yourself to doing group stuff?
At first, I didn't think I would like it because I had been doing solo for so long. But I really did thrive on that group setting and just doing it together and seeing that other people were struggling with things too. So it was okay that I was still learning.
Yeah.
So that was very helpful because I didn't feel defeated.
Yeah. Do you currently do anything solo?
Do I now?
Yeah. Do you go on any runs or walks or anything like that?
Not really, unless it's walking the dog.
Yeah. I mean, I occasionally do some solo stuff, but I always prefer to do it in a group.
Yes, me too.
I get the desire to do some stuff solo. I mean, it's nice to just kind of like, I don't want to have to talk to anyone, or I don't want to have to like, I just want to be able to focus on myself, or, just kind of be alone for a little bit.
Right.
But I just have yet to find where it's few and far between where people are willing to push themselves enough in a solo environment. I just think you miss out on a lot by not being around other people.
Yes, agree.
So, and you're a part of, so Angie opens up her own gym. You were part of that crew that came over to MBS Fitness. What are some like positive memories that stick out in your head since joining MBS? Like, what kind of sticks out as like some core memories? Like, yeah, that was awesome.
I liked doing the open here and the different slants that we've put on it over the years. I enjoyed that. And just the milestones that I was able to hit that I never thought that I would. I look back, I'm like, wow.
What are some of those?
Just being able to do a pull-up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was so far from that when I started 12 years ago, and just to be able to do that today, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And especially especially as you get older, your peers, very fewer of your peers can do that.
Right.
And so it's feels even more important and kind of, special that like, I can do this. That's awesome. What else sticks out?
Had a lot of fun doing the world's greatest competition a couple of years ago.
Sure. Yeah, I do.
That team competition, that was a lot of fun.
Very
just joining with, people my age and being able to do stuff like that.
That's
was
cool.
a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of the just group stuff. The community stuff sticks out as like fun, powerful, impactful moments.
Yes.
What are some, you talked about the pull-up, but what are some other like accomplishments that stick out?
Just being able over time to increase the amount of weight that I'm able to move in the different lifts. Yeah. That some of those have come pretty slowly and slow gains. But when you're stuck at that one weight for months and months and sometimes even a year, and then you push past it, that's just very satisfying.
Yeah, and it's so objective. Like I did it. I did one more rep. I did 5 more pounds. Like I've been trying to do this weight for so long, and it's a very clear and cut like accomplishment.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't get a ton of those as you get older. Things it's like, how do you know if you did good parenting? I don't know. That's really hard to But I know I did good in the gym today because I got a little bit better. That's cool. I know you've got a kind of a great relationship with my mom. Y'all are kind of peers. Both have grown up children, and the same age kind of bracket. So what's that been like to kind of do this journey with her and others, kind of other peers?
So when your mom joined the CrossFit class, because when I first came to the gym here, I think she was still doing a class with you and just a couple of other people. And not too long after we came over here, she did join CrossFit. And it was just, it was very nice to have someone that was a little bit older than me that was doing more than I was. It was very challenging and very inspiring to see that, oh, wow, I can still make gains.
Right.
You know, even at 57, I can still make gains and improve. And just seeing her live that out was very inspiring. And it still is.
Yeah, that's cool.
It still is.
Yeah, what's been kind of your experience with working out with kind of the different, you work out with people who are different age groups, different walks of life, different fitness levels. How does that kind of played into your experience?
I'm the kind of person when I meet somebody new, I want to make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
So I always enjoy having somebody come in new to the 6 a.m. class is the one I generally attend. And just trying to make them feel included and remembering what I felt like when I first started and how scary it was, and looking out at everybody else and going, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. But just trying to make them feel inclusive is a good feeling, because you feel like you're helping them and encouraging them and hoping that they continue.
For sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I like the idea of like everyone has a picture of someone who's ahead of in the journey and someone who's behind in the journey, and that helps you continue down the journey. It's like, okay, so that's possible.
Yes.
So I can do that, and I want to get that. But then also, like, this person who's behind me who's like, there's no way I'll ever do this. You're like, oh, let me tell you a story.
Exactly.
I love telling people, I'm like, hey, I had a first CrossFit class, and you may not remember it, but I remember it. It was burpees at the very end. It was like the 6 o'clock class, and there's probably 5 to 10 people who are just like going, come on, David, you can do it. Keep going. I was like 5 minutes behind everybody. I was like, it was like, oh man, like it's a little bit embarrassing. Mm-hmm. A little bit of like, please go away so you're not looking at me. But like that was where my journey started.
Right.
And so when I tell that to people and they're like you finished last in a workout, I was like, yeah, I got smoked too by people who were 20 years my senior.
I do remember that class. And wasn't there one where you were actually doing your burpees like to a box? Like
Probably.
You weren't even doing them to the floor yet.
I'm sure. I was like, I scaled everything. Like, I know where you're coming from. I started there. So like, I'm telling you, you can do it too. Yeah. But yeah, that's cool to be able to share that experience with other people. And it's cool to be motivational to people and be like,
right.
I mean, I know I've heard it, and I'm sure you've heard it as well, that people will say like, hey, man, look up to Sherry, look up to Madre, like they're in there, they're getting it in, and I want to be like them when I grow up. And you're like, yeah, that feels good, right?
It does feel good.
That's cool. What have been some of the struggles that you've faced along your journey?
One of my biggest hurdles is a torn hamstring tendon. And that is an injury that does not heal fast.
Nope.
And that was about 4 years ago. And I still today, there's certain things that if I do enough reps, it aggravates it.
Like kettlebell swings or deadlifts?
Like deadlifts or some single leg movements where it's isolating that muscle. It still can get very sore. And that's very frustrating because I'll ask myself, wow, I wonder where I could be if I hadn't had this injury. What could I be doing that I'm not able to do because I had this injury?
I mean, what's kept you going? Because a lot of people, once they have an injury, they go, no more.
I'm addicted to it. This is just part of my routine. Yeah. I'm very much a routine-oriented person, and like even on the weekends, because I generally don't come on Saturdays. I try to come Monday through Friday. even on the weekends, I'll be like, wow, something just feels off today, or I didn't get that endorphin high this morning. I'm kind of grumpy, or so.
Yeah.
So just the routine has just kept me coming back.
You made it a habit.
Yes.
And then it's like brushing your teeth.
Exactly.
Why you brush your teeth? I don't know. Like, it's good for me, but also it's what I've done for every day for 40 years. That's cool. What any other struggles come to mind?
Yeah, actually, I got COVID in 2020.
Okay.
And I didn't have a bad case of it. Didn't even go to the doctor. I just went to the little drive-through and tested. Yes, it was positive. But the one thing I noticed when I did come back was not necessarily the strength loss. That came back pretty quickly, but just the cardiovascular. And I still don't honestly feel like I'm where I was before I got it. So that was very frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, what's the lessons you learned through those injury and COVID?
That you kind of have to give yourself some grace. You kind of have to not be so hard on yourself, which I tend to drive myself pretty hard. Yeah. And it's okay to come and not go as hard as I can. It's okay to go, I don't really feel good today. I'm just here to move and get some exercise. Yeah. So learning to give myself grace and permission to back off a little bit has been a valuable lesson.
To me, that sounds like wisdom from doing it for over a decade. I think there's just some lessons. I can say it to someone all day long, but you just, until you've seen it and experienced it, there's just lessons that come with working out for a decade or 2 decades that you're just not going to learn in the first 3 months.
Right.
And one of them is like that it's not this linear path. It's like
exactly.
Not this linear path. There's always up, and you're always making. It feels like that when you first start because you're like, I'm just getting so much better. I'm just cruising like this. But it's not a linear path. Like, you're gonna have hiccups. You're gonna have back pedals. You're gonna have times where it's like it feels like you're just stuck.
Yes. Yes.
But because you've made it a habit, you know how important it is, and you have a bigger perspective. You're not. It's like when you have the decade of doing it plus, it's not the first time you've dealt with something. So you can balance that out a little bit better.
I think I've also learned to look at some of the workouts, and especially the ones we throw in every now and then that are really high volume of reps. Yeah. And I've learned which ones to go, I'm going to pass on that because I want to work out the next day too.
For sure, yeah.
And I've learned kind of how long it takes me to recover from certain things. And there's some I'm like, not going to do it.
Yeah, right. It's, how to walk the journey.
Right.
And like the goal is, there's little individual goals along the journey, but I always kind of say like the goal is to just not stop.
Right.
Like the goal is to start working out and just keep doing it until you die. So
exactly.
You got to kind of if that's the ultimate goal, you got to be smart, long-term thinking to go like, well, today is probably not the day to like destroy myself because I really would like to work out the rest of the week.
Exactly.
100%. That's cool. What, any other struggles come to mind?
I did have one other injury. It was my own fault, a broken toe. We were doing a workout with a dumbbell, and I was so excited to be done that I kind of threw the dumbbell, broke my toe.
Ouch.
So that took a little while to recover. That kind of hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But
like, what did you do? Did you just adjust it and said, well, I'll just do single leg stuff or whatever I can? Yeah.
Right. Just did what I could. And I mean, you can't really do a whole lot for a broken toe. You just kind of have to push through it. So I would wrap it and come and do what was comfortable and keep moving.
I love it. What are some common struggles that you've seen in your peers? Like, we know that a very small percentage of the population does exercise. Of those who do exercise, few of them do it consistently. Of those who do it consistently, few of them do it in a method that leads to overall fitness. You might have someone who runs a lot all the time, but struggles to have the strength, right, or mobility. So you're in your 50s, amongst your peer group, what are like the common struggles that you see?
I see this over and over again at work. People know I work out.
Mm-hmm.
They know I eat healthy. And they kind of poke at me about it. I mean, not making fun of me, but just, and so many of them, it's almost like confession time when they're talking to me. Wow, I wish I could do that, but I just really don't have time, or this or that. And I just try to tell people, look, you got to make time for yourself. And that's one of the reasons that I come to the 6 a.m. class is I tell people I have more control over the first 3 hours of my day. I don't always know what time my day's going to end, and I'm going to be free.
Yep.
But 6 o'clock in the morning, there's usually very little at work that is higher priority than me taking care of myself.
That's right.
And it sets the tone for the day.
100%.
So
what's the response to that?
Most of them just think CrossFit is this crazy, hard, I couldn't do it thing. I have one friend at work that I've been trying to get to come for a long time. And so one morning we were here and I asked the coach, I said, will you just film our workout for, 20, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
So did that, took it to work, showed my friend. Oh, wow. That is not at all what I pictured CrossFit was like. There's like normal people in your class. Right. I'm like, yeah, I've been telling you that. Yeah. It's really not, it's not just for the super athletic. It's for anybody.
100%. Yeah. Especially the level method. I mean, that's.
Yes.
I love it because it's like, man, like everyone needs these same abilities. So everyone needs to be able to have strength. They need endurance. They need flexibility, power, right? It just looks a lot different based on where you are in your journey. But you still need it. So if you're 70, you've never worked out before, and you need to do something that's powerful, well, we've got something for that, and you can work out beside a 25-year-old, who's been doing it for 10 years, and y'all can both do power, strength in the same group, but it's just going to look a little bit different for each of you guys.
I have to tell you, though, when we first started the level method, I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. Made me frustrated. And part of it was it just hurt my feelings when we did that very first assessment because I wasn't where I thought I should be.
Understand.
But as we've gone through it and I've made more accomplishments going through it, I'm like, there really is a method to the madness. It makes a lot of sense.
For sure. Yeah, we have a kind of internal joke is like someone's like, how do we need to approach these kickstarts? And sometimes it's like, people need to be shown that they can do it. It's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, no, they need to be shown that they can do it. But sometimes there's like, they need to be shown where they actually stand. Because we're like, I can do this. You're like, well, let's see where you fall. And it's humbling. It's humbling.
Yes, it is.
But just like that person that's part of like the journey of fitness is like, you got to somewhat humble yourself. You got to humble yourself and say like, I need to do this. I got to figure it out. Like fitness, like I think, like I would say, proper stewardship of the body is a requirement, not an option. It's not a lifestyle choice. So yeah, you got to humble yourself and say, I got to do this. I need help. I'm gonna have to get up in the morning. And I'm gonna have to do some things that are uncomfortable, and that's how you do the journey. If it is a constant process of humbling yourself. It's a constant process of being aware of where you are and where you want to go and what it takes to kind of get there. Like we're in the gym to improve ourselves,
right? Which
requires an admission that I need to improve.
Right.
What I'm currently at is not where I'm currently at needs to be addressed so I can get better. And that's a humbling experience, and Level Method does a good job of at least making it objective.
Yes, it does.
And like I said, when you get hurt, it makes it. What I have found, you've been doing CrossFit for a while, is when CrossFit first started, and there was just the RX, just RX on the board. It literally just became a subjective decision. How do I feel today? or how does my coach feel today? And man, it's really hard to make intelligent decisions subjectively about your own health and fitness journey.
Yes.
Because your emotions come to play too often.
Yes.
And so the nice thing about the level method is it just makes it objective. It's like, you're purple, therefore you do the purple workout. And there's a little bit less subjective decision making, and a little bit more just kind of accepting, okay, that's what I'm going to do today. Or I don't feel great today, so I'm going to go down one.
Right.
Versus maybe you look at it and you, like, in the past, you might go look at the RX work, you're like, I can't do that, so I'm not going to show up. This you're like, oh man, I don't know about that one, but let me check out the one below. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I'll just do that today. And so it makes staying on the journey longer easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
It is nice to have that kind of spelled out, and it takes a load off the coaches too, because they're not having to individually go down the line. Okay, let's figure out what you need to do today. Let's figure out yours. I mean, that takes time out of the class, and
yes. Well, and then you end up being there's less time to coach, there's less time to actually train, because like you can imagine what happens if you have a 20-person class, and I was like, my shoulder hurts, or this hurts, I can't do that one. That's a very difficult conversation to have to start a class.
Yes.
So it's a great resource for the coaches as well, because like I just got to focus on coaching today, motivating and building community and making sure people are progressing. So yeah, I love it. So I mean, we're talking about kind of like peers and struggles. We mentioned time, and I think a little bit of identity. It's like I can't do that. What other struggles that you see
for myself or just in
peers.
the gym? Oh, in peers.
Yeah, peers.
I see people come in and, you mentioned a while ago, oh, I want to do what Sherry does when I grow up. And I think sometimes people think they'll never get there, but I like to try to encourage people that, yeah, you will get there. It's going to take time. And I try to remind and tell people, hey, I've been doing this 12 years and I still can't do my double unders consistently. All right. Everybody struggles with something. So just hang in there and you're going to see the improvement. But I think sometimes, it's still hard. You're new, you come in, oh, well, I can only do yellow today, and everybody else in the class did blue or purple. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's your journey.
Yeah. Getting over the hump.
Yes.
Yeah, you said, reminding everyone, like, hey, we all had our first day here.
Yes.
And guess what? It did not look as good as today looks. Like our first day was not as pretty as our 1,000th day. You know what I mean? How does it feel to kind of hit this 1,000th mark when you kind of reflect back? Like, what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of just sticking with it and being consistent. I don't know if you knew or not. Last year in 2023, my husband and I spent 3 months out in Arizona in our RV.
Yep.
So I took a few things that I could, and I was working with Matt. And I just didn't feel like I was doing anything.
Yeah.
But I found when I came back that I really was. Because what he had me doing kind of helped me maintain the muscle that I had. And it's kind of funny. I really wanted to continue working on my pull-ups while we were out there. Well, there was no playground, nothing to be found.
Yeah.
I was doing my pull-ups on a gooseneck trailer.
That's awesome.
So where there's a will, there's a way.
Right, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something super powerful or something you should be very proud of. That I think it's a testament to, like, when I look back, I see I took a step, I built a habit, I maintained the habit, I built an identity, and then identity helped me maintain the habit through a lot of these difficult times. I think that's a takeaway for everyone that I'm hearing very consistently from people who've been on this journey for a while is it hasn't been just unpaved road. You've had rocky moments.
Yes.
But you kept rolling, kept moving forward, and figured out a way to get through it. It's like, I want to get better at pull-ups. I know I got a pull-up bar. I'm going to pull up on this trailer because I got something above my head that I can't pull up on, and I'm going to have to make it work. We're in the fact that you said, like, I want to go on vacation, but fitness is important to me. How can I keep it in my daily habits. I think that's a super powerful message that people can hear. What are some motivational, or what could you share with people that would motivate them or help them along their own journey?
Just get in there and get started and get to know your people. Find your tribe. Find those that encourage you, that if you skip a day, they're sending you a text going, "Where were you today? We missed you."
Yeah.
And we have that group in the 6 a.m. class. Yep. And just knowing that somebody is there and they're expecting me to show up.
Yep.
That makes me get up and go, even when I don't feel like it, or when I'm like, I'm just going to roll over and go back to sleep. It's like, no, I don't want to get 5 texts going, "Where are you?" So just get in there and connect, Very cool. That'll make it easier.
Don't do the journey alone.
Don't do it alone.
Awesome. Sherry, thanks for coming on the MBS Fitness Radio podcast. Congratulations on 1,000 classes, and keep the journey going.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.